What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? How are you guys doing? My name is Matt LeGrand, and on this channel, we are always talking about some sort of swimming, biking, or running content, general triathlon content. And recently, we've been reviewing a ton of goggles and giving all of them away. But today, we are reviewing the Special Ops 3.0 triathlon goggle from TYR. And let's just take one quick second here and talk about TYR's naming conventions. Last we reviewed the TYR Blackhawk racing goggles. These are the TYR Special Ops. I feel like TYR is trying to tell me something. Like maybe they're trying to recruit me on some sort of Black Ops mission, and I'm down. I mean, I'm excited about this. This is gonna be amazing. But with all of these goggle reviews, we typically will go through and we'll talk about the visibility of the goggle, like how well you can see when you have the goggles on, the overall fit, and we talk about leaks and things like that. And then lastly in the video, I go over how I feel about the goggles and then how you guys can win the goggles for yourselves. All right, TYR did send me these goggles for review. I didn't actually pay for these, but they didn't compensate me for making this review, and they don't get to review this video before I post it to YouTube, where you guys are able to see it. And whenever a company sends me something to review, I'm definitely trying to pass it along to one of you guys in some sort of form of giveaway. Okay, these goggles weigh in at about 1.56 ounces, so they're significantly heavier than some of the other goggles that we've reviewed in this series. I swam with them only a couple of times, but I really, weight was definitely not an issue. But what you will notice is the larger size of these goggles. They're 34 millimeters in height. They're about 53 millimeters wide, so significantly bigger than other goggles that we've tested as well. But the depth of these goggles isn't that big. I measured the depth, and remember, I usually measure without the gasket as part of the depth, and I measured it at about 7 millimeters, so not super deep goggles. And so typically with goggles like that, that do sit close to your face, they tend to be a little bit more streamlined and typically reserved for racing goggles. And it doesn't have an interchangeable nose bridge. It's just this single polycarbonate bridge that's part of the goggle frame. And TYR does have a women's specific version of this goggle, and it also comes in a polarized lens option. And remember that the polarized lens should cut down on any glare by the water by quite a bit, which would be fantastic for any of you guys that are open water swimming, which a lot of us triathletes do. And lastly, they also have a transition lens option. So you're probably familiar with transition glasses, but basically they're clear when it's dark out, and the lens turn a little bit darker as it gets brighter out. And the Special Ops 3.0s also have this quick little plastic lever on the side so that you can quickly adjust the goggle straps. And I will say that this is probably not my favorite feature of the goggle, but I guess it would be useful if you're constantly in need of adjusting your goggle straps for some odd reason. I can maybe imagine something where you're sharing goggles with someone constantly, maybe your wife or something like that, and you just kind of constantly need to be changing the actual tension on the goggle strap. And as far as price goes, these goggles are pretty expensive. The basic goggle costs about 35 bucks. The polarized option is 45, and the transition lens option is also $45. You might also be interested in getting the Special Ops 2.0, which I saw on their website for 30 bucks. And I will be sure to link in the description of this video to wherever I can find the best price. If it's an Amazon link, just remember that that is an affiliate link. Affiliate links won't cost you anything extra or anything like that, but it does go to help support this channel, and I do appreciate it a lot. So the visibility on these goggles is really excellent. And I really think that that's the strength of this particular goggle, just having that extra peripheral range and having the option of the polarized lens or the transition lens makes it an excellent option for open water swimming. But I didn't love the fit of these goggles. They just didn't work for me personally. And goggle fit is definitely one of those things that's a bit personal, but I think when goggles are larger like this and the gasket tends to sit up higher up along the brow bone, I think it's a little harder to get that perfect fit. And it doesn't mean that these goggles wouldn't work for you, but I just think that it's harder to get that perfect seal when you actually have goggles that come up a little bit higher like this. And I have a friend that I swim with about once per week, and he has these goggles and he absolutely loves them. But for me, I couldn't quite get the fit right, and it definitely leaked a lot for me. And anytime a goggle leaks for me personally, I really can't use it on a day-to-day basis. And I mentioned that the depth of these goggles are pretty tight, and so that tends to not work really well for me personally. In these goggles, I definitely felt like my eyes were kind of pressed right up against the lens itself. My eyelashes were definitely pressed right up against the glass, which I don't love. And so overall, the fit for me just wasn't quite there. But my loss is definitely your guys' gain. And I definitely think that these are an excellent option for triathletes. And so you can win these goggles by simply dropping below in the comment section of this particular YouTube video and telling me about one situation that was very difficult that you had while open water swimming. And I'll start. I once got sunscreen on the inside of a pair of goggles right on the starting line, right before the start of the race. And I ended up having to race the entire 1500 meter race without using goggles at all. It wasn't a huge deal. I was able to get through it, but it wasn't a great experience. But I'll give this video about 2 or 3 weeks, and then I'll randomly generate a number and then go through and just pick a comment based on that number. The only thing that I'll need from you is to get your address, and I typically can do that just by giving you like a private message over Instagram, or you can let me know like what an email is or something like that. All right, I am in the middle of a series of videos where we're reviewing a ton of different goggles, and I think the next goggle is the Speedo Vanquisher 2.0, which I'm very excited about. And I'm actually giving all of these goggles away for the most part. So make sure you go back and take a look at some of the recent videos on this channel, and I'll be sure to link some of them right here at the end of this video. But I'll be also posting a ton of triathlon content as our season fast approaches, so definitely consider subscribing. And as always, I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch these videos, and I will see you guys on the next one.